5 years. That's how long I had been married to Ethan. 5 long years of walking on eggshells, swallowing my pride, and convincing myself that love could survive on compromise alone. But the truth? There was no real love left. Just a pile of empty promises, cold dinners, and arguments that circled back to the same unresolved mess. The final straw came on a rainy Thursday afternoon. I had just finished a 10-hour shift at the firm and stopped by the bank to check on our joint savings account. Only, there wasn't much left to check. Over $8 was missing. Gone. Just like that. My heart sank as I walked through the front door. Ethan was sprawled on the couch, scrolling his phone like he didn't have a care in the world. "Ethan," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Did you take money out of our savings account again?" He didn't even look up. "Yeah, I did. Why?" I clenched my jaw. "That was our emergency fund. What did you need it for this time?" He shrugged. "Took the guys out for a fancy dinner. We were celebrating." "Celebrating?" I repeated in disbelief. "You spent $8 grand on steak and wine?" "Well, we were tired of cheap diners. Okay, money's meant to be spent. Babe, you need to stop stressing about every little dime." Every little dime? I was the one working overtime, skipping weekends, and watching every expense to build that fund. And he just tossed it all away, like it meant nothing. "We're supposed to be a team," I snapped. "But you're acting like a spoiled teenager with a credit card." Ethan finally looked at me. Eyes narrowed. "Oh, here we go again. The 'I'm the responsible one' speech. You know what, Mia? I'm tired of being made to feel like a loser in my own marriage." I opened my mouth to respond, but no words came out. What was the point? This was the same fight we'd been having for years. Just different numbers on the bank statement. That night, Ethan came home late, reeking of beer and cologne that wasn't mine. I had cooked dinner. He didn't even notice. "You forgot we had plans tonight," I said quietly. He blinked. "Oh, right, sorry. I made plans with the guys instead." I felt something break inside me. "You know what? Maybe we both need something different." He scoffed. "Are you threatening me with divorce now?" "No," I said, calm and certain. "I'm filing for one." His face turned red. "You've lost your damn mind." "No," I replied. "I've finally come to my senses." I didn't know it then, but that choice would lead me into the most complicated and unexpected chapter of my life. Because my soon-to-be ex-husband was about to hire a lawyer. And not just any lawyer. My ex. The one who broke my heart. I showed up to the first divorce mediation meeting 15 minutes early. My heart pounding harder than it had during any courtroom case I'd ever prepped for. This wasn't just legal, it was personal. I was about to sit across from Ethan and whatever big-shot lawyer he had hired to fight for his rights. I sat down at the table, straightened my blazer, and opened my folder. I was ready to fight for my dignity, my peace, and everything I'd built without his help. But when the door opened, and I saw who walked in, my entire body went cold. No freaking way. Tall, sharp-suited, with that same smug confidence I remembered all too well. "Liam?" I blurted out. He stopped mid-step, clearly just as shocked. "Mia?" We stared at each other like ghosts had just come back to life. I stood up, heart racing. "What the hell are you doing here?" "I should ask you the same," he said, recovering with that signature smirk. "I'm representing your husband." Of course he was. Of all the lawyers in the city, Ethan had to hire Liam Blake, my ex. My first love. The guy who left me high and dry 8 years ago with nothing but a note and a shattered heart. "This is some kind of sick joke," I muttered, sitting back down. "I assure you, it's not," Liam said, adjusting his tie and taking the seat across from me. "I had no idea you were involved when I took the case." "Ethan didn't mention your name until the paperwork came through." "Right, just a happy coincidence," I said dryly. "Mia, don't flatter yourself. The world doesn't revolve around you. And yet here you are, revolving right back into my life, again." I snapped. He chuckled under his breath, clearly amused by my fury. "Look, I get that this is awkward. But I'm a professional. Let's just focus on the divorce. That might work for you. But I'd rather get hit by a bus than work with you," I said, grabbing my bag. "You do know this meeting is required, right?" he said calmly. "You can't just storm out of legal mediation. Watch me." I left that office so fast my heels practically left dents in the floor. My blood was boiling. Ethan's betrayal was one thing, but this felt personal. Like fate was playing some twisted game with me. I wasn't sure what burned more, the rage of seeing Liam again, or the fact that my heart still skipped a beat when he smiled at me. But I made myself a promise right then and there. I wouldn't let Ethan win. And I definitely wouldn't let Liam Blake break me twice. I managed to avoid Liam for a few days after that explosive first meeting. His office called. I didn't pick up. He emailed. I deleted it. But deep down, I knew I couldn't dodge him forever. So when he suggested we meet at a cafe, neutral ground, he called it, I reluctantly agreed. Public place. Less room for drama. When I walked in, Liam was already seated, looking infuriatingly relaxed. Same dark hair, same confident smirk, but something was different. He looked tired, older, like life had finally knocked some of that arrogance out of him. "You're late," he teased as I sat down. "Traffic," I replied coldly. He grinned. "You were always bad at lying." I wasn't lying, I just didn't want to come. That sounds more like the me I remember. I rolled my eyes. "Let's get this over with." He leaned back, folding his hands. "I've looked through the financials. Ethan's asking for half." I nearly choked on my coffee. Half? Of what? My business? My retirement? He didn't even contribute. "Doesn't matter," Liam said with maddening calm. "You were married. Legally. He has a claim." I narrowed my eyes. "Is that your professional advice? Or are you just enjoying watching me squirm?" He blinked. "I'm just doing my job." "Mia. Funny. You didn't care much about jobs or rules when you left me without a word." His expression shifted. The smirk faded. "That was a long time ago." "Not long enough." A silence fell between us, thick with history and things left unsaid. I looked away, pretending to read the menu I'd already memorized. "You know," he said softly, "I missed your coffee." I raised an eyebrow. "Excuse me? You used to make the best coffee." He continued, his voice gentler now. "I drink 3 cups a day just to spend time in the kitchen with you." I hated how my heart fluttered at the memory. "Well," I said, reaching for my mug, "this one's not made by me. So don't get nostalgic." He smiled, but it was sadder this time. "I didn't leave because I wanted to." "Then why did you?" I asked, voice lower. Before he could answer, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it and stood up. "Important call. We'll talk next time." "Always running." "Huh?" I muttered. He paused, then looked at me. "This time, I'm not running. I'm coming back." And just like that, he walked out, leaving me with a cold cup of coffee and a heart full of questions. One thing was clear. This case wasn't just about divorce anymore. It was about unfinished business. 3 days later, Liam showed up at my house. I hadn't invited him, he just texted, "We need to talk," and 30 minutes later, there he was, standing on my front porch with 2 cups of coffee and that unreadable look on his face. I figured if I brought the coffee, "You might not slam the door in my face," he said. I sighed and stepped aside. "Don't flatter yourself. I just don't want to explain to the neighbors why I'm yelling at a man in a suit on my front lawn." He smirked. "Sounds like progress." We sat down in my kitchen, the scent of cinnamon rolls I had forgotten in the oven still lingering. For a moment, it felt like old times, before everything fell apart. "This place is nice," he said, glancing around. "You did all this yourself?" "Yeah, no help from anyone." He nodded, then took a sip of coffee. "Still the best." I looked away, unsure of how to respond. There was a comfort in his presence I didn't want to admit. A dangerous kind of comfort. "So," I said, breaking the silence, "what did you need to talk about?" Liam took a deep breath. "I owe you the truth." I froze. "I didn't leave you because I stopped loving you," he said. "Back then, I was drowning in debt. I'd made some bad choices before we met, and I thought I could fix it without dragging you into it. You could have just told me." I whispered. "I know," he said, looking down, "but it wasn't just the debt. My parents, they didn't approve of you. Said you'd ruin my future. That being with you would hold me back. They offered to bail me out, under one condition." I felt my stomach twist. "They made you leave me." He nodded slowly. I was scared, weak, and I walked away instead of fighting for us. My chest ached with a mix of anger, hurt, and something dangerously close to forgiveness. "I thought you left because you didn't care. Because there was someone else." "There never was," he said quietly. "I never even dated after you. Just worked. Tried to forget. Never did." I stood up, pacing the kitchen. My emotions were swirling. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. Instead, I turned and asked, "So why now? Why tell me all this?" "Because I still care," he said, "and because I know what I'm risking by being here. But I had to tell you the truth." I took a step closer, unsure what I was doing until my hand brushed his. He didn't move away. "You shouldn't be here," I said softly. "I know. We shouldn't be doing this." Then stop me. But I didn't. I leaned in, and this time when we kissed, it wasn't out of anger or confusion, it was something else. Something real. We were standing in dangerous territory. And we both knew it. But for one stolen moment, I didn't care. Liam and I tried to pretend we were keeping things professional after that night. We weren't. We met in secret, sometimes at my house, sometimes in his car after work. Anywhere we could steal a moment away from the chaos of the case. I kept telling myself it was temporary, a mistake, but it didn't feel like one when I was in his arms. It felt like the only thing that made sense. Until everything blew up. It happened on a Sunday afternoon. I'd just gotten out of the shower when I heard the front door slam open. "Mia!" a voice shouted from the hallway. I froze, heart pounding. "Ethan!" He stood in the living room, fists clenched, his face red with rage. And there, right behind me, came Liam, buttoning his shirt. Barefoot, clearly just as caught off guard. "What the hell is going on here?" Ethan roared. "Ethan, listen," I started, but he cut me off. "Are you seriously sleeping with my lawyer? That's why everything's been going downhill for me." "Huh? Because the two of you have been plotting behind my back." Liam stepped forward. "It's not what you think." "Don't," Ethan snapped. "Don't insult my intelligence. This isn't why your case is falling apart." Liam said, voice steady. "It's because you lied. You hid assets. You twisted the truth. That's on you, not us." Ethan turned to me, eyes wild. "You really couldn't wait, huh? Couldn't even let the ink dry on the divorce papers before jumping into bed with him?" I felt my face burn. "You lost me a long time ago, Ethan. This marriage ended before I filed anything." "Well, congratulations," he said coldly, "because now you've blown up whatever sympathy the court might have had for you. You've made this personal." He stormed out, slamming the door so hard it rattled the windows. I turned to Liam, hands shaking. "What do we do now?" "We stay calm," he said. "We haven't broken any legal rules. But we need to be careful." I nodded, trying to breathe. "You think you'll go to the court with this?" "I'd bet my license on it," Liam replied. "Which means I'm off the case. He'll fire me, and rightfully so." "So that's it?" I asked, heart sinking. "We're just done?" He looked at me, a mix of regret and determination in his eyes. "No, not even close. He might have found out about us. But that doesn't mean he wins. I'll step back officially, but that just means I can help you more freely." "You do that for me?" I asked. "I already am." And just like that, we went from a secret affair to allies in a war. The gloves were off. And this time, we were fighting together. The courtroom was colder than I expected, not in temperature, but in tone. Everything felt sterile, lifeless, except for the fire in my chest as I sat across from Ethan. Dressed in his best suit and his worst intentions. He didn't even look at me. His new lawyer, some smug hotshot with slicked back hair, did all the talking. Liam sat in the back row. He wasn't allowed to be on the case anymore. But he was there, for me. Our eyes met just once. It was all I needed to steady myself. "Ms. Hall," the judge began, "you're requesting to retain full control of your business assets and decline alimony payments to Mr. Carter." "On what basis?" I cleared my throat. "On the basis that I built my company from the ground up without his involvement. And because Mr. Carter has a history of financial irresponsibility, including misusing joint funds." Ethan scoffed loud enough for the courtroom to hear. His lawyer placed a hand on his arm, trying to keep the act together. "I have proof," I continued, sliding a folder across the table. "Bank statements, receipts, and statements from clients confirming Ethan's absence from all business dealings." The judge reviewed the file carefully, his expression unreadable. Then Ethan stood up. "I also have evidence," he said with a smug grin, "that Ms. Hall was unfaithful during our marriage." My stomach dropped. He pulled out a USB drive and handed it to the court clerk. Seconds later, footage of Liam and me, kissing in my kitchen, played on the monitor in front of the courtroom. Gasps filled the room. "Mr. Carter," the judge said, sharply, "where did you obtain this footage?" "I installed a camera in our home weeks ago," Ethan said. For security. Liam stood up from the back. Your Honor, if I may, you're not on this case anymore. Mr. Blake, the judge cut in, but I will allow a statement. Given the circumstances. Liam walked forward, composed but serious. What you're seeing is real. I did have a relationship with Ms. Hall after I was hired. Though it began before I had any knowledge of her being the opposing party. Once it became clear, I intended to step down. And yet you continued. The judge replied sternly. That's a serious breach of legal ethics. I understand, Liam said, quietly, and I'll accept whatever disciplinary action comes. But Mia Hall should not be punished for my actions. The judge looked at me. This complicates things, but it doesn't invalidate the facts of the case. Ethan smirked until the judge added, but your surveillance tactics, Mr. Carter, walk a dangerous legal line. The room went silent. I sat there, heart pounding, realizing the battle wasn't over, but the truth had finally stepped into the light. And for the first time since the divorce began, I wasn't scared anymore. The day of the final hearing arrived with the weight of everything we had been through pressing down on my shoulders. But this time, I wasn't alone. Liam was beside me, not as my lawyer, but as someone who had fought for me in ways that went far beyond the courtroom. The judge entered, expression firm but fair. The room hushed immediately. After reviewing all evidence, he began, including financial documents, character references, and the questionable surveillance footage provided by Mr. Carter. The court has reached a decision. I held my breath. The court finds in favor of Ms. Hall. She will retain full ownership of her business and assets. Furthermore, Mr. Carter will not receive alimony due to clear evidence of financial misconduct and dishonesty. Ethan's face turned ghostly white. But the judge wasn't finished. In addition, Mr. Carter is ordered to pay $15 in damages for emotional distress and breach of financial trust. The court also issues a warning regarding his unauthorized home surveillance, which may be subject to future legal review. Liam squeezed my hand under the table. I could barely hold back tears. Lastly, the judge continued, turning to Liam, Mr. Blake, while your conduct was ethically questionable, the court accepts your voluntary withdrawal and honest testimony. A report will be filed with the Bar Association, but no further action will be taken at this time. Liam nodded respectfully. Thank you, Your Honor. As the gavel came down, a wave of relief washed over me. It was over. Ethan stormed out of the courtroom without a word. Typical. Outside, I turned to Liam. You didn't have to stand by me through all this. He smiled. I wanted to, and I'm not going anywhere. If you'll let me stay. I reached up, brushing a hand across his cheek. I've spent so long fighting for everyone else. Maybe it's time I choose someone who fights for me. Does that mean I get to be your boyfriend now? He teased. That old spark in his eyes. Officially, I said, smiling. But don't get cocky. You've still got a lot to prove. He leaned in and kissed me, soft, slow, and full of every promise we'd been too scared to make before. A few months later, Liam moved in. We took things slow, this time with honesty and trust. And somewhere between late-night takeout, weekend road trips, and cups of coffee on the balcony, we found our rhythm again. A year after the divorce was finalized, he proposed. Nothing extravagant, just us, the ocean breeze, and a ring he swore he'd been holding onto for far too long. I said yes, because love the second time around isn't about fairy tales. It's about choosing each other. Even after the pain, especially after the pain. And this time, we got it right. The end. Life lesson. It's never too late to choose yourself. This story reminds us that sometimes, the greatest act of love isn't staying. It's walking away when a relationship no longer brings peace. For many of us, especially those who've spent decades prioritizing family, careers, or obligations, it can feel selfish to finally put ourselves first. But it isn't. Mia's journey through a painful marriage, an unexpected reunion with a past love, and a challenging legal battle teaches us the importance of honoring our truth. Whether it's standing up against unfair treatment, letting go of resentment, or opening your heart again after betrayal, the message is clear. We're never too old or too far gone to start over. True love, be it romantic or self-love, doesn't always arrive at the right time. Sometimes, it circles back when we're wiser, braver, and more deserving than ever. Life doesn't hand out do-overs often, but when it does, we should be ready to take them. So whether you're 35 or 75, remember, your story isn't over. And the chapter where you finally choose joy might just be the most beautiful one yet.